you think Georgina's nice to sort of put on when the guys have, you know, I think I can say stop that really. You know, it's all there, isn't it? You know, it's just so much from the heart. I mean, how do you think me and Liz feel? We're sitting at the back blubbering away there, and someone says, you know, got my life back, and she, you know, like Jeff said, I mean, you're hearing the same thing again. I saw myself for the first time, you know, and that's what we're trying to share with you. And if you're thinking, well, I'm in a pretty good place, I think you're perhaps missing the point a little bit. What we're hoping that you'll do is take it and share it with other people, because there's a lot of people out there that are really struggling that we need to get to. And we've just got, you know, clearly, I mean, there's no need for me to talk anymore about the BC system itself. Clearly it works. I mean, you can see that. You know, and say all our words now, it'll just be reaching you, and it's just, you know, it's what you want to do, but what the script's going to say. And like I said, the script's never going to say it's a good idea anyway. I just something here that you said, Ian, about when someone said something years ago. What we've realised in with your script is that someone can just say a few words years ago, and it can affect the whole rest of your life. There's a quote I wrote the other day, and it says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can fuck my life up forever. And if you look at BC, without the script, it doesn't need to stay like that, but you wouldn't believe how controlled we are. You know, you saw that with the sausage machine. So I want to thank the superheroes that have come here as well today, as well as the guys that I said earlier that have chosen to be here. We've had some fantastic feedback. What they're saying is that it's the best recharge day ever. That's the feedback that people are saying. So I think there's a whole room, if we can receive from that, it's good. And there's something I just wanted to share there as well. I don't know if it was Georgina said about the shock treatment with my mum, and it just reminded me, it's just a little bit in my story that I didn't mention, and we're just going to wind down now. I've only got 5 minutes. I just wanted to share that my mum was also born sensitive, you see. And I wouldn't tell you this bit, other than this is still what happens in the medical profession. You may have had this treatment, and you may even give the treatment. I'm not knocking the treatment, but what I'm just saying is perhaps there's a better way of doing things to sensitive people. And when I was a little boy, I guess I was about 8, my mum would sometimes say, look, you come with me, and she would take me to the hospital in Northampton. And I'd sit outside a room for about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. And my mum looked sort of okay when she went in. But when she come out, kids feel from here. Kids have got a big satellite dish. It's like a big sky dish that comes out. It's solar plexus, and it's a bullshit detector. Kids get you like that. No matter what you tell them, they get it. And I thought, something's going on in there. My mum's been crying in there. And it was years later that I found out that what they did with my beautiful mum, my mum, that I never knew in my whole life my mum to fall out with anyone. She died when she was my age. She just went out one day. She never had a heart problem. She just had a heart attack. She just went out and emigrated to heaven. I wish I'd have known that phrase a few years ago. How lovely is that? You don't die, you emigrate to heaven or to paradise. We use that a lot as superheroes. And what they did with my mum, they actually plugged her into the mains. They electrocuted my mum to a degree that doesn't kill you, and it's supposed to help. Perhaps it does. I don't know. And they'd strap my mum down with anyone. They strap you down. They put a rubber thing in your mouth, stop you swallowing. And they put all these volts through, all this electricity. Guys, please tell me there's got to be a better way than that. It's not something that I want. And then when you hear someone like Georgina on the stage, it's changed my life. Of course I'm going to give it everything that I've got today. They still use that. With Lewis, they're giving Lewis, he's 18. They're giving him antidepressants, telling him he's bipolar. You know, that's why we want you to join us and help us and hopefully spread the word. So, with Lewis, I've been threatening to tell you about Lewis. Anyway, that was my mum. Okay, we've just got one quick cosmic facts. And the cosmic facts is, just want to tell you about Lewis. Jeff was speaking to a mate of his. Is that mate here today, is he? I can't remember his name. The one where he said about the voice in his head. What's his name? John. And Jeff was speaking to this guy. Well, I'll keep it really short. And it got down to, anyway, you know, Jeff said, are you okay? And it came out he's not. And he was really struggling. I'm really suffering with depression, you know. Been to see the doctor and everything. Jeff said, well, you don't want to believe that voice in your head, everything it said. And anyway, Jeff said, well, hey, what did you just say, Jeff? He said, well, you don't want to believe that voice in your head. And this guy said, well, you got one. Jeff said, well, everyone's got one. It's the script, what we call the script. He said, I didn't know that. Can you imagine how that guy felt in that second? Just suddenly realising there's other people. He's been to see doctors. He's been to see therapists. People are supposed to help. No one had told him about a voice in the head because you've got to be professional. It's got to be done from the book. That's crazy. And I know John's been along, and I know you've changed. It's another life. You've changed as well as Ian's and other people, Jeff, and other people that have introduced people to BC. So, Lewis, yeah. I wasn't having a very good day this week. I wasn't feeling very well. I've got something I've got to sort out with a doctor, and it was playing up, and, you know, we've been to Tesco's, not the most enlightening place, and we got in, you know, and it's cold, and there's a note on the door, and it's Mick. Mick's a guy that drinks in the pub in the village. I keep pretty much to myself. I've never been a man's man, and I don't want everyone to know my business. I know I've pissed some people off in the pub because I'm so upbeat. You know, I actually temper it down to fit in so I don't stand out. It's good when you've got to be like that. Anyway, I spoke to Mick a few times. Mick said to me one day, he said, I really like speaking to you. He said, the other guys are great, but somehow I feel safe with you. I can open up. He said, then he got talking about his lad. I've got this lad, Lewis, and, you know, he's a great lad, but, you know, he's sort of struggled at school. I thought, yeah, I struggled at school. And you don't get a lot of the stuff. He's not an academic. I thought, no, I'm not an academic. Well, I listened to Mick a couple of times about his son called Lewis. And, you know, I said, he's one of the sensitive ones, Mick. He's one of, you see, everyone's got that sensitivity, but it's like a volcano. Sometimes it's nearer the surface in some people. So what we do, we ram it down. We push it down. What Chris was talking about. You push it down, especially low. It's going to come out. It's going to come out somewhere. So anyway, I got back from Tesco's. This is no, Mick, I popped round to see you, not in. And we just got in. I thought, I don't want people knocking on my door. I want them to ring me first. I don't like people coming around my home. I was just going to ring Mick and say, look, we'll sort it out. So I knock at the door. There's Mick standing there with Lewis, who I've never met before. I'm tired. Perhaps I've been in my script, you know, been to Tesco's, not feeling so good. I've got something on the stove cooking. You know, Siobhan was there, Liz was there. I said, oh, it's Mick. And I thought, I can't send them away, but, you know, I ain't got a lot of time to cook it. And the reason I'm sharing this, the reason it's so profound, and perhaps why I've been really fired up today, it shows you what we've got here. I said, hi, Lewis. I said, come and sit down. Come and sit down, Mick. I said, well, I ain't got a lot of time because I've got something on the stove. And I just said to Lewis, I said, no, what's going on? And he's looking at me like that. I said, no, about the voice in your head. Lewis hasn't said anything. He's just said hi. I said, I know about the voice in the head, Lewis. I know what it's saying. I know it's what it's doing to you. That voice is a liar. I know about your sensitivity. I know about the loneliness. I know about the isolation. And Lewis's bottom lips went like that. His mouth dropped open and his eyes, he just burst into tears. I mean, burst. His dad burst into tears. Then I burst into tears. Clearly, I'm emotional now. And he's looking at me, gone out. He says, how do you know all this? How you're telling me what I'm like? Lewis didn't come and tell me what he was like. He came and I told him what he was like. I said, Lewis, because I feel the same. I'm the same as you. I said, I'm having panic attacks because I couldn't go in assembly. Lewis said, I had that. My dad paid £90 for football tickets. I could only be there for 5 minutes. I said, Lewis, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't need fixing. It's just this, what we call a script, and it's the voice in your head. You want to feel good. You're sensitive. That's what it is. That's all it is. And I said, Lewis, if you want, you can cut. There's a do on Saturday. It's just dropped in right. And if you remember what I said, Lewis, I said, but I ain't going to waste my time with you, Lewis. I don't try to convince people. I've had people out there who said, this is not for me. I'm the first person to say, great, I get that, no problem. I said, you work with me, Lewis. You come along and I will help you. And I said, then you can see Liz from 1 to 1. And he showed up today. And I didn't know Chev said about the doctors. Tell me, please, what am I supposed to do? What is Liz and the other superheroes when we've got something that powerful that can affect an 18-year-old where he's come and sit here, he's sat here today on his own at the back next to Siobhan, and like, you know, Chev said he hasn't taken any of the tablets. That he knows now he's not on his own. What if he hadn't met me? I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to think about that when the doctors are plugging my mum into the mains and they're giving people these tablets. I think we all know what could have happened. But stick with it, Lewis. Stay plugged into this and, you know, you can have a fantastic time with it. But the whole point is, if I could affect someone that much in a few minutes, imagine what we could do if you decided to come along for 5 days or getting this out there. So I can't stand in the way of this. This is why, from where you're at, it might seem a bit powerful or it might seem a bit over the top with my emotions. Well, I sort of make an apology for that in a way, but it's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. It's the way that it's got to be. We can't get in the way of something this powerful. And that's what we've shared with you today. We've given you an insight to what BC is about. If you're going to go for the rest of your life and you're going to think, well, there is a script, it's not who I am, you're going to have a much easier ride with it anyway, and you'll get a lot from the day. Of course we're biased. Of course we're hoping that you want to take it further with us, and we're going to be at the back of the room. So Liz, I don't know if you want to come up and say anything to the guys.
What to say? I've never been a woman of few words, so this is going to be really difficult. I'm going to just, you know, first of all, thank you for giving up, as I say, the most precious thing you have, your time. You know, it really does show that you are leaders. Your little script voice will be saying, yeah, she doesn't know what we're really like, but it does. Just to come through the room, just to be here, tells you you're a leader. And that's what we need, you know, our world's crying out for leadership at the moment, and it's time for us to step up. Because, you know, I was saying that to one of the guys at the break, I've always been waiting for the clever people to sort it out. I was going, come on, clever people, sort it! And, you know, you realise, well, I don't know, the so-called clever people don't seem that clever. So, you know, I want you just to ask yourself a question. Take the money to one side, obviously there's a cost involved in VC, but if you could separate that from a minute, would you choose to do it? And if the answer is yes, if it feels right here, not here, here, then speak to us and we'll find a way.
That's a good question.
Because really, if it's in your heart, you'll know it's in your heart. And if it's not for you, that's absolutely fine. You know, I just think if you've come today and you've found out about the script, then, my God, you know more than probably 99.9% of people that are out there doing so-called therapy, doing so-called doctors. You know more than them. So even if it's just that you know, you share it with your family, you share it with people, or maybe it's, you know, I was coaching a young girl in Glasgow, and she's 14, and I was telling her all about the script. And then her and her friend were doing this exam, and the friend was freaking out because, you know, she hadn't studied enough. And she told her about the script. She said, I know, she went, you've got that wee voice in your head that's saying you can't do it, but just don't believe it. And, you know, she had her imagining, you know, she'd already passed the exam. Well, the wee girl passed the exam. That was after one session. I had one session with this 14-year-old, she's already passing it on to somebody else. You know, I think like BC is almost like a positive virus. You know, and the more that we actually just, you know, don't wait for the script to say it's appropriate to share it, because it will never be appropriate. Dirty talk for this, not for this. You know, we've got enough talking heads out there. It's time for us really to connect. We are human beings. I think we should be called feeling beings, because that's all we really want to do is feel. And, you know, I want to just say thank you to all the guys, Melanie and Hap and Meg, and all the guys that make this really happen. And particularly, obviously, to Richard, who really makes it happen. It wouldn't be the same without him. You know, he's worked his wee butt off to get here today, and to Tom. And just, you know who you are. You're not that little voice, you're far more than that. And if you just get that one thing from today, trust me, your life can just change in ways that you can never even imagine. So from my heart to yours, you know, I hope that we've touched you, and I hope that you're able to be out there and touch others, because that's what's needed. So thank you everyone.
Thank you.